Minnesota, moved to Los Angeles about 10 years ago.
My name is Vargas. I was born and raised here in Los Angeles.
We met in high school. We both went to Venice High School. We met in Mr. Bucherri's class, actually. He was wearing a Noriega Supreme shirt, and I had a Noriega Supreme skateboard. And I just decided to approach him and was just like, damn, that's pretty fly.
That's how our relationship really started. And then it kind of expanded as we got to work more together and get to know each other a bit more.
I would say it really started to expand when we started going to Jet Ride. This is a flea market on Melrose where everything's $1, so you can get really cool vintage clothes for $1. But we started just meeting up on the weekends, going to Jet Rag, and then kind of keeping it exclusive to that. We didn't really hang out much at school. We kind of just kept it to the Jet Rag missions, just because it was a good time.
The more time we hung out with each other, the more we understood what we wanted as a group, I guess, and what our same ambitions were.
The whole idea of wanting to make something wasn't really pushed right away. It was more just kind of into clothes. He'd maybe put me on to acronym, and then maybe put me on to Rick Owens, and I'd be like, what, have you heard of this person? Mini Swoosh, or some other random shit at the time, and just kind of going back and forth on what's cool and what's not. There wasn't really anyone else I could do that with, so it was kind of just it's kind of almost come into school a certain way to only show this fool because it's no one else was really paying attention to it. So it was kind of just we knew we were only really looking at each other for it. There wasn't really anyone else to look at it for.
The project before we started was it's more just a concept.
Project before we started, we only really made a few designs.
Yeah.
We probably made a total of 4 or 5 designs because this was during the time of submitting stuff for school, for universities and stuff like that. Yeah. So it was more just the first time using a collaborative effort to make a layout of a shirt design and then trying to produce it together at the same time.
No one knew anything about sewing, no one knew anything about patterns. This was pre-everything. It's our first steps into trying to do something in I guess the fashion industry, or just trying to push new ideas out there. Yeah. And at the time I felt that was really good work, the way we were putting in stuff graphically, at least especially with our screen printing methods. We didn't consist or kind of limit it to just one color, but we kind of developed our own methods in just our screen printing class and shit like that.
Conflicts prior to 3DNOIZE, I would say, consisted of just not knowing for sure if we were trying to go the full cut and sew route or the full reworking, remastering route. The one-of-one route allowed more ideations to come out and a lot more of ideas to really be showcased. Exactly, it just made it quick. But then when it came to making something from scratch, it was just well, I don't even know the process of making something from scratch. Niggas in high school. So it's you expecting too much at this point.
Initially, where we butted heads, I guess was just the just the concept of one-on-ones and just starting from scratch, from the ground zero and up. I guess I was more on the other side of the spectrum, just more trying to do some legit fashion stuff that had meaning.
3DNOIZE as a name really was settled prior. It was prior to me linking with him really.
He wasn't in the picture.
Yeah, he wasn't in the picture I guess yet. It was more just I knew I needed him in the picture, and there was not really anyone else I wanted to be in the picture besides this fool. I had a homie in school named Justin Cotto that I was kind of working with, but we never really did anything actual together. It was more just talking and ideating, stuff like that, but then if I was working, he would be doing something totally different. So it was just there was no real connect. But then me and this fool still weren't really that close. Yeah, because there was 3. There was supposed to be 3 heads in there. Me and him weren't really too close at the time. We would link up sometimes.
Just at high school.
Yeah, it was still pretty early out of school, so it was kind of just what do you really want to do at this point? But then I just hit him yo, we should do this brand, and then I kind of got hit up with an opportunity for us to do the runway that we did, kind of early into the idea of the brand. So it was just if we do it, we can just start it this way. So it was kind of you either like are down or you're not. Like you're either down to work with us or you can just like, I guess, not work with us. And it ended up working out. And then I would say from there our relationship builded like to the max.
You know, he hit me up with like an opportunity just to join with these fools and just work, and I was like, why not? Like there's nothing else to do, there's nothing better to do. And I feel like I was like a great decision on my part, because it kind of like made my it kind of like opened my mind to like different possibilities in the art world, at least.
When I hit him with 3DNOIZE, I was like, we should actually do it. Like we shouldn't just like cap on it pretty much.
And you had that runway on our backs. Kind of just motivated us to
get it done.
Just get it done.
There was literally a day, this fool pulled up on me after class. I had straight got out of class. It was like 4:30. We were sewing until like, it's like 3 in the morning. He left at that point, and then I was still at school. Like I didn't even go to sleep, and then I was in class like passing out. Like I was sitting there, like they were critiquing my work, and I was just like, because I was just up all night trying to make sure that we could get our stuff done by the time like the deadline was, because we had to have 10 looks for this show. Something we've always been good at is like being able to work off each other, like work off each other. That's probably the best part. Like we can just go back and forth with the whole process instead of just like being stuck on a certain part and needing like help. Like we can kind of just bounce off each other and get it done.
Yeah, and then like through that whole like runway process, like I would say like we developed 3DNOIZE, like what the brand was. Like through those nights and through those like through those like sewing days, like that's basically like where the brand started. It's that runway, and that's like that's basically our first introduction to like the world, I guess, is that runway. I feel like what makes 3DNOIZE unique is us.
We're very like uniformic style. We're very like workwear, more about function than like fashionable.
Something I do really want to go into like in the future is really just researching textiles. Just trying to figure out like what works with what and why it does work with it. You know, studying textiles, you really realize that like the world is like based on just science and like atoms and stuff like that, and how they just like interconnect. But regardless, just going into a textile field and just kind of creating my own textiles, and then eventually leading into like my own brand and label, separated from 3DNOIZE.
I really want to work for like a production company so I can like get my technical skills up, but I'm not even really too worried about getting paid. I just want to get like the real knowledge that I would need to be able to like send a piece that we want to make over to someone, because it's like we could do that right now, which is cool, but like I'd rather be under someone that's already doing that, so then we can just do it to the max when it's time, the time is necessary. I guess for the brand, it's more about like pushing ourselves to create new pieces that are just gonna like push the aesthetic forward, but then push fashion forward, but then also have the people that are looking at us and like maybe interested in our work to like consider us for like jobs and stuff like that. I just want to be able to like expand what we're doing and then apply it to somewhere else, and then with everything I learned somewhere else, be able to apply it to what we would want to do for a future label. Because in the end, like, it's not that I don't want 3DNOIZE to be like this, like a poppin' brand, but like that's not the main focus. The main focus is just like doing good shit. Yeah, good technical skills, good work ethic, good like teamwork, collaboration. Just so then when I get into like the actual field, like I can really work with somebody else instead of like always depending on the people around me. That's not a bad thing either. Like you should always be your own boss, but it's like there's just so much more to learn out there. I don't need to like be stuck in LA trying to do this shit forever. Like I can go somewhere else trying to do this shit. I don't need to like be stuck on the concept of just 3DNOIZE and making it out. So yeah.
It wasn't really until we started 3DNOIZE that we understood the whole concept behind having a brand and running a brand.
We're still learning like the process of doing all that. It's never like a ending. Yeah, it's never ending.